Hi guys, I'm back. I'm just gonna get right into it. So I'm gonna start off talking about Attorney General Bill Barr, who's been a very, very busy man. All right, I'm gonna start talking about what has gone on in Italy. Um, okay. So Attorney General Bill Barr went to Italy, and then a few days after he was there, the the police raided the Vatican's financial offices. And what's important to know about this is that in 2018, George Pell, who was the Pope's top aide and chief financial advisor, he was arrested for child rape. All right. So he ran the office that was raided. So a guy who's a child rapist in the Vatican that had one of the highest positions in the Vatican was arrested for child rape. All right. So that happened in 2018. He was convicted earlier this year. And he ran the offices that were just raided at the Vatican. He ran the financial offices. So, we all know that the Vatican is involved in child sex trafficking. So I can guarantee you that this raid is tied to child sex trafficking. And I guarantee you that the documents that they pulled from those financial offices will shed light on the Vatican's involvement in child sex trafficking. And it's no coincidence, and it's not ironic that Attorney General Bill Barr just happened to be in Italy right before this raid happened. So, it's what I'm seeing here is that Attorney General Bill Barr is making deals. He's going literally around the world, and he is making deals with heads of these foreign governments and basically telling them, you need to take down these child sex trafficking and crime networks. And that's exactly what's happening. And so Attorney General Bill Barr was there a few days before this raid happened. And then I think the day that the raid actually happened, Secretary Pompeo arrived in Italy. All right. And what did Q tell us a few months ago? Q told us that Italy is with POTUS. So we now know that Italy is now working with POTUS and the Q team. And there's clearly evidence that Italy is working with the Q team to take down these child sex trafficking networks, which is why you're seeing, the financial offices for the Vatican getting raided. All right. So that happens in Italy. So then, what else happened? All right. So then we also had the UK, the Home Secretary for the UK. Her name is Priti Patel. I think that's how you pronounce it. She tweeted the other day this. Tonight, I signed a historic agreement with our U.S. allies that will dramatically speed up investigations into terrorists, child abusers, and serious criminals who exploit the internet. All our citizens will be safer as a result. And she posted a picture of her signing the agreement with Attorney General Bill Barr sitting right next to her. So, again, Attorney General Barr is a very busy man, and he's going around and he's making deals with all these countries to take down these elite pedophile rings, to take down the global child sex trafficking networks. This has actually been going on via the Trump administration since President Trump was sworn in as president. As I've been reporting for literally years now, the Trump administration has not only been taking down elite pedophile rings and child sex trafficking networks in the United States, they're doing it globally. When they took down Backpage was operating in hundreds of countries. They were trafficking children in hundreds of countries, and President Trump's DOJ shut them down. So, when people say nothing's happening and blah, 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 it gets so annoying because every day stuff comes out that proves that not only is something happening, there's lots happening. And it's been happening ever since President Trump was elected president. and if you can just kind of put the pieces together and connect some dots and read between the lines, you can see that there's a lot happening. So we have Barr making agreements with the UK. We have Barr working with Italy to take down these child sex trafficking networks, okay? And he's been very busy doing other things as well. I'll get to that in a second. But then in terms of child sex trafficking, the other story I want to talk about in terms of Attorney General Bill Barr, a story came out the other day. Here's the headline. Clinton whistleblower, feds investigating Adam Schiff's disturbing behavior at Ed Buck's meth and sex house. Okay. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So the story says that Attorney General William Barr is investigating why Adam Schiff was at Ed Buck's place 16 times. Okay. Who is Ed Buck? Ed Buck is Adam Shifty Schiff's BFF, close friend, and he's Democratic donor. He's also close friend and donor to Hillary Clinton. All right. This guy has been arrested for, I believe he was arrested for drug trafficking. He is suspected in the murder of 2 men that he trafficked in his home. All right. He brought men into his home, drugged them up, molested them, and many believe killed them. All right. So this guy is basically like a human trafficker and a serial killer. Okay. Adam Schiff's good friends with him. And we learned from Q that Adam Schiff is involved in child sex trafficking through the Little Kids Foundation and the Standard Hotel. So Ed Buck was arrested a few months ago, and the charges were on drug trafficking, but just wait. There will be more charges coming forward on this demon. So now we have Attorney General William Barr looking into why Adam Schiff was at his house 16 times and if he witnessed any crimes. And not only did he witness any crimes, I'm sure that he was involved. I'm sure he was involved in crimes. But anyways, the story that came out through True Pundit the other day is that he's investigating, what happened when he was at Ed Buck's house 16 times. And did he witness any crimes? And if he did witness any crimes and didn't report them, then that's a crime for a sitting member of Congress. Okay, so we have that going on, but again, we know that Adam Schiff is guilty of many things, including treason, but we know that he's up to his creepy, bugged out eyeballs in child sex trafficking. Trafficking, again, like I said, the Standard Hotel, the Little Kids Foundation, and in Haiti, where the Clintons were trafficking kids via the Clinton Foundation. All right, so we have that going on. And then what else is interesting in terms of Attorney General Bill Barr is he just had dinner with Rupert Murdoch the other night. And then yesterday, Shepard Smith abruptly left Fox News. I was driving and listening to Fox News on Sirius, and I was just stunned because it was very obvious to me that no one knew that Shepard would be departing Fox News. He had a multi-year contract, so he's breaking his contract. His farewell on his broadcast yesterday was just bizarre. It sounded like he'd written it in 5 minutes. And Neil Cavuto came on next, and he was just, stunned. He was speechless. He even said himself he was shell-shocked. So he obviously didn't know that was coming. I don't think Shepard Smith knew it was coming, but we all know that Shepard Smith is a deep state puppet, and he has been vicious against President Trump, total anti-Trumper, Trump derangement syndrome, and, he's part of the deep state. So I imagine that, I don't know, this is just speculation, but I imagine that Attorney General Bill Barr's meeting with Rupert Murdoch the other night may have had something to do with Shepard Smith. We know that a lot of these mainstream media, Mockingbird media pundits are working against the good of American people. We know that they're working for deep state entities. We know that they're working for the cabal. We know that these people are involved in crimes. Some of the crimes involve treason. Some of the crimes involve trafficking. Some people are guilty of both. All right. If you go and you type in media or fake news into a search for Q's posts, you'll see that Q is constantly talking about this. And what does Q also say? Q says, in terms of the media, no one will walk away from this. So any of these media members that are involved in any crimes, they're not going to walk away clean. So I imagine that there's probably a sealed indictment with Shepard Smith's name on it. And then just something else I'm going to note is that Rachel Maddow, another deep state puppet, she's been wearing the boots, okay? Why is this relevant? Well, if you remember, and I believe it was in 2017, John McCain and Hillary Clinton were both wearing medical boots, and there was speculation that they had ankle monitors on their ankles. And at one point, John McCain had the ankle monitor, or he had the medical boots on one of his ankles, and he flipped it to another ankle. And there was speculation that the White Hats switched the ankle monitor from one leg to the other just to troll him, which wouldn't surprise me. So we've seen a lot of VIPs and elites and celebrities pop up with this medical boot since the storm started. So I don't believe this is all coincidence. Q says there's no coincidences. I think there's a good chance that people that popped up with medical boots could be wearing ankle monitors, ankle bracelets, whatever you call them. So there's that. And then just one last thing I'm going to mention about Attorney General Bill Barr is that, I want to pull this quote from Sebastian Gorka. Sebastian Gorka said, "At no time in our republic's history has a serving attorney general traveled abroad to personally spearhead the investigation into the legal intelligence operations of the last president until now." So, we have Attorney General Bill Barr personally going from country to country, meeting with the head of Fox News. I mean, this guy is such a badass. He's personally going to these different countries and making deals. He's getting evidence. He's taking down these child sex trafficking rings. He's taking down these elite pedophiles. I mean, again, anyone that says nothing is happening, you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention at all. You're a show, because it's just unbelievable how much is happening. Okay. So those are the big stories, I think, in terms of the child sex trafficking stuff. What else we've seen recently is, when I started exposing Pizzagate in 2016, and I talk about this all the time, but I'll just say it again. Every single person that commented on any of my posts, it was like probably 98% negative. Every single comment was, "You're crazy, you're conspiracy theory, you need help," and just mean comments. People name calling me, people just in denial, people saying that this would never happen, and just lots of comments that, if Hillary Clinton was really trafficking kids, she'd be in jail. Like, people just couldn't understand that not only that are these powerful people involved in the rape, torture, and trafficking kids, they don't understand that our government had been so infiltrated with cabal people and bad people that allowed these networks to not only flourish. A lot of the government agencies were the reason why these networks existed in the first place. So that was back in 2016, and now you go on my social media and you see hundreds of comments, and almost every single comment is not only positive, it's people saying, "Yeah, this is true, and did you know this? Did you know that?" People are awake, and it's just been really amazing to see how far the world has come, how far the masses have come, how far people have come in terms of the awakening since 2016. And the reason why that's relevant is because Joam has talked about this, and Q has talked about this. The White Hats, the Q team, they're ready to arrest all of these elite freaks. They've been ready to arrest them and to drop the hammer years ago. The only reason why it hasn't happened yet, and they've been holding off, is because they are trying to drop the hammer at a point in time where public awareness is high enough where there's going to be minimal violence and minimal civil unrest. And I think we're really close to that point where the takedown can happen and there's enough people that are awake where there's not going to be a full-blown civil war that's going to break out, and hopefully there will be minimal civil unrest. It's, for me, it feels like it's taken forever to get to this point, but when you look at how far the masses have come since 2016 and how many people have woken up and they've realized the media is lying, and they realize that the media is lying about Trump and that Trump isn't that bad, and how many people have left the Democratic Party. It's actually pretty amazing to see. And you even have liberals questioning Epstein's death. There's liberals that are saying, oh, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's no way he killed himself. So people are awake, and I think we're really at that boiling point, that tipping point where we're going to start seeing stuff go down, and we already are seeing it go down big time. But okay, so if you look at the things that are happening, in the news, for example, look at Kanye West. He's running these church services almost every Sunday. And he came out the other day and he's talking about Jesus, and he's running church services, and he's making statements like LA is run by Satan. Okay? Kanye West is awake. He's very awake, and he's a huge part of the Great Awakening. LA is run by Satan. Hollywood is full of literal Satan worshipers. So to have someone as big as Kanye West coming out and saying that and acknowledging that is huge. Then what do we also have? We had who was it? Okay, it was Pastor Robert Jeffries. Pastor Robert Jeffries said the other day, the Democrats may worship Moloch, and Moloch is the pagan god who allowed child sacrifice. Okay, I've been talking about how many members of the Democratic Party literally do worship Satan. They literally do worship Moloch, and Moloch is the pagan god of child sacrifice. Why would they worship the pagan god of child sacrifice? Well, because they are involved in the rape, torture, trafficking, and child sacrifice. What do you think they were doing at Jeffrey Epstein's island? Why did he have a satanic temple there? They were not only trafficking kids, they were sacrificing kids there. Okay, so I've been talking about this for years, but to have a big name pastor come out and say that, and it made headline. Not only did it make headlines, Moloch was trending on Twitter because of that. So, this just shows me how far we've come, that we have mainstream people dropping big truth bombs like that Democrats worship Moloch and LA is run by Satan, and it's just amazing to see. Aaron Carter came out the other day and he said that he was sexually abused by his sister. He said his brother had been abusing him his whole life, and he also said that he was sexually abused by his backup dancers. And I've done a lot of reporting on the sex trafficking and the sexual abuse that goes on in Hollywood, and it's exceptionally bad in the music industry. And oftentimes music executives will target children, and they target children that come from either broken homes or poor homes, because they want vulnerable children who don't have the family structure or the family unit that will go after them if they hurt their children. So, his story is all too common in Hollywood. You hear it all the time. I mean, there are so many stars that have been raped by other people in the industry, and unfortunately, it's more common than not. But what's amazing about Aaron Carter is that he felt confident and comfortable at this point in time to come forward. And we're starting to see a lot of people feeling safe and comfortable to finally come forward and tell the truth about what's going on in circles like Hollywood. And that's what's amazing. We also had Massive Attack, the band Massive Attack, at more than one of their shows. They put visuals on this big screen in the background during one of their songs. One visual was of Pizzagate, and another visual was who killed Epstein. And I don't know what their politics are. People have debated that on social media, and that doesn't even matter. What's a big deal is that we have this huge band, this mainstream band, that is questioning who killed Jeffrey Epstein, who we know is one of the biggest child sex traffickers for the elites in the world. So the fact that they even brought that up and then they mentioned the word Pizzagate, that's huge. That's huge. Because all of the people that don't know about Pizzagate and don't know about Jeffrey Epstein that are fans of this band, or hopefully most of them, are going to start researching the truth. And they're going to learn the truth. And they're going to find YouTube channels like this one and realize that this stuff is real. So that was really cool to see that. And what else is happening? Okay. And then we also have Ronan Farrow's book, Catch and Release, came out. One of the biggest bombshells from his book is that Hillary Clinton herself pressured him to kill the Harvey Weinstein story. So just think about that for a second. Hillary Clinton pressured him to kill a story about a serial rapist. All right? I mean, anyone that's even kind of woke knows that, or that should come as no surprise to anyone that's slightly woke. Hillary Clinton has spent her entire life covering for child rapists and rapists, including her own husband. Her first job as a defense attorney was to defend a child rapist, and she got him off easy and then laughed about it. She has literally made a career of protecting pedophiles and rapists, so it should come as no surprise. But, that's what we're dealing with here with Hillary Clinton. And people often wonder, like, if Pizzagate is real, like, why doesn't it come out in the mainstream media? Like, how come no one's reported it? It's because, the mainstream media is almost completely entirely controlled by the deep state, the people that are actually involved in trafficking children, and B, anyone that tries to come forward to tell the truth about what's happening gets threatened, they get their pets killed, they get killed, they get harassed, they have family members get killed, and, I don't know what happened in Ronan's personal life when he was trying to expose this, but we know that he got pressure from Hillary Clinton not to come out with that story. And I imagine, I haven't read his book, but I imagine that he got threats. And another story that actually came out when I was in Europe was, it came out that a Vanity Fair editor that was working on the Weinstein story found their cat dead hanging from a tree outside of their house. All right. And people that have followed my work and know me well, you know that after I broke a huge corruption story on Hillary Clinton in 2016, my dog was poisoned. So this is what happens to people that dare to tell the truth on major corruption stories and child sex trafficking and try to expose powerful people that are involved in rape and child sex trafficking. And so this is why none of these stories have come to light for years and years and years. These monsters, these sex traffickers, these pedophiles have been protected by powerful people. And any good person that has tried to expose these people has been met with just harassment and chaos, and you can't even imagine. And I can say that because I live that every single day of my life. Okay, every single day of my life. I mean, like, the latest chaos in my life is that someone for the past several days has been trying to hack my Facebook, my Instagram, and my email. Like, every few hours I get an alert on my phone that someone's trying to get into my account, and that's normal. That's a normal day for me. Every day I deal with chaos in my life. That's why I had to flee my home. That's why I had to leave the country. So everyone that's messaging me thinking, oh, your life's so great, you got to go to Europe. And don't get me wrong, I had an amazing time in Europe. It was amazing. But I had to flee my home. That's been hell. I had no choice but to flee my home because I was dealing with such big security problems that I felt that my physical life was in danger. And that's how I've had to live for 3 years straight. And it's been a nightmare. Okay, we also learned from Ronan Farrow's book that Andy Lack, who is the he is the NBC News chairman. Ronan said that he would prey on NBC employees for sex. So he denies it. Of course he's going to deny it. But it just goes to show, NBC News, allegedly, they claim that they fired Trump back in, what year was it? 2015, because he told the truth about what was going on the border. And, they were so outraged by the tape that came out where Trump said, grab the pussy, and all these people that were so outraged by Trump saying grab the pussy are turning out to be sexual predators, pedophiles, rapists. It's just, as Q says, those that scream the loudest, have the most to hide. Oh, I didn't even have this in my notes, but off the top of my head, Robert De Niro is being sued by a former employee. You can Google it. I don't remember details of the lawsuit. I think it was sexual harassment among other things. But what I have reported before about Robert De Niro is that Robert De Niro was a client of a prostitution ring, and he had to go to court for that. I believe it was in the UK years ago. The mainstream media didn't cover that. That barely came out. And he also had Harvey Weinstein come into his restaurant in New York, and where Harvey would come in and bring a lot of his victims. So, he has that going for him too. And he's one of the, loudest Trump critics out there. He was, on CNN the other day dropping F-bombs left and right. So again, the people that scream the loudest and hate Trump the most are the ones that are guilty of crimes. Oh, and another thing that happens while I was in Europe, Trump called out foul-mouthed Chrissy Teigen. And you guys all know about my Twitter feud with her. And he also called out John Legend. And we know that Chrissy and John Legend are tied to the cabal. They're tied to the child sex trafficking. Q has pointed that out in at least one or multiple posts. So again, those that scream the loudest have the most to hide. They're guilty, and they all have sealed indictments. Okay, so speaking of sealed indictments, we'll segue into that. I think the sealed indictments they're over 100,000. It's between 120 and 130,000, right? So, all right, everyone wants to know when the big takedown is going to be and when we're going to see these mass arrests, and no one knows. The Q team knows. That's it. So, no one knows when this is going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. Every day I wake up and pray that it's going to be today, but I've been praying for that for years, even before Q started posting, because I knew that these arrests would happen. Even before Q came out of the scene, I knew that these people were going down because of President Trump, and I knew that there would be mass arrests, and I knew that there'd be military tribunals, but I just didn't know when, and I still don't know when. However, because so many people are awake, which is what I was just talking about, what a lot of people that follow Q and analyze Q say is that the mass arrest won't happen until the public is awake enough. And like I said earlier in this video, I believe we're at that point or almost at that point. And when I say almost at that point, I believe that before the end of the year, we could be seeing these mass arrests. And I know I've said that before, and I've hoped that for a very long time. So I don't know for sure, but I do believe that we're reaching that point, and there's a lot of things pointing to major events going down soon. And one of them would be the fires that are happening in California right now, the power outages, and I'm not going to get too much into it. You guys can go and, look up Q's posts on the blackouts and the outages. But the two most important things that I want to note, let's see if I have my notes. Maybe I didn't do a post on it. Okay, hold on. The Marines, I'm going to pull up the press release. Sorry. Give me a second here. Okay. So there was a press release that came out on October 3rd of this year. Manpower guidance for activation and deactivation of reserve component Marines ordered to active duty ISO defense support of civil authorities. And then Joe M had some good insight on it. Joe tweeted, intriguing, the Marines were just authorized to use live fire in the event of domestic civil conflict. It's not the first time reserve units have deployed on U.S. soil, but to defend civil authorities is unprecedented, I'm told, possibly linked to Q Post 955. Q Post 955 was March 17th, of course, 17th, 2018. It states U.S. Marine Corps activated in 3 U.S. cities, USMC activated US 3Q. Okay, so maybe they're activated in more than, or maybe it's just 3 cities in California. I don't know. But then there's also reports that have been coming out the past 2 days that there are 10,000 Marines that are being deployed here in California. Okay? So we've had the outages, we've had the fires, we've had earthquakes. The outages, there's a debate if this is a cabal attempt to, there's a debate whether the cabal is behind these outages or whether it's the white hats. There's also a debate if the fires are started by the cabal or not. I think that there's a good chance that the white hats could be doing mass arrests right now. I think that they could be doing special ops in these areas where there's outages. And, I think maybe the fires are caused by the cabal. I don't know. But I can guarantee you that the outages, the fires, the Marines coming to California, the Marines reserves being deployed in an unprecedented event, it's all related to the storm. And the fact that the Marines are being activated and they're being deployed here in California, where I believe California has the most sealed indictments, by the way, this could be an indicator that these mass arrests are happening or they're about to happen. And we also saw a blackout in New York City. And that blackout, a lot of people think, was linked to Jeffrey Epstein. All right. So I don't have all the answers, but I can guarantee you that all these events are related to the storm. I do have faith in Q and the Q team, and I do believe that Patriots aren't in control, and I do believe and know that White Hats are in control. So again, I don't know when the mass arrests are going to happen, and I don't even know how they're going to happen, and I don't know if it's going to be one day we're going to wake up and every single person with a sealed indictment is going to be arrested, or if it's going to come in waves. I have no idea. All I know is that it is going to happen. I just don't know when. But things are definitely lining up to possibly happen soon. So I'm staying cautiously optimistic about that. And, anyone that's been watching Trump's rallies, he's really going scorched earth on these Democrats. I mean, the gloves are off. He's just going after, Pelosi and Adam Schiff and just calling them out left and right and just calling out their frauds and their hoax. He's calling out the fake news. I've never seen him go so scorched earth. So again, everything seems to be aligning and everything seems to be heating up. And so I don't know. I think the next few months are going to be really interesting, and hopefully we'll see at least some more big names go down. Just trying to think if there's anything else I want to bring up. I think that's it for now. Oh, there's one more thing I want to bring up. Another thing that's interesting is that 8chan's new site is going to be 8kun, 8, the number 8, KUN. And the other day, that site was forwarding to George News. And we all know that JFK Jr. launched and ran and founded George Magazine. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I'm pretty excited about that. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Check me out on Instagram and Facebook. Hopefully my accounts will not be hacked, but I don't know. It's been a pretty crazy week. All right, guys. Catch you later.